Well, welcome back to the Owatonna Today Show, your community connection. With me now is Jared Hendricks from Owatonna Public Utilities. Jared, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Pete, for having me.
Nice to have you. We're going to talk about some things regarding utilities and kind of an update, so to say. But before we get there, let's talk about you.
Sure.
Talk about your role at the utilities, where you came from, and what your background is, and so forth.
Absolutely. I am an Owatonna native, so born and raised in Owatonna, came back after college, and definitely enjoy being back in town. It's nice to see how things do change over time, and the wonderful directions we've gone as a community. I did finish my degree as a business major and got a job at the Owatonna Public Utilities. I currently do the marketing and energy conservation work out there. Most of my time is spent with our commercial and industrial customers with energy conservation programs such as rebates, looking to see how they can save energy at their facilities, different things like that. Also work with our marketing committee to put out our newsletter, different things like that, and of course events like the Owatonna Today Show, the fair and stuff.
PR stuff. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So when we talk about rebates, if Pete here wants to buy a new refrigerator and wants to put in for a rebate, is that something that comes under your purview?
Yes. So every year I work with the triad utilities, the Owatonna Public Utilities, Rochester Public Utilities, and Austin Utilities. That way we can have a better rebate portfolio without costing our community as much. And yes, we do look at that. You would apply for a rebate. You can do that by printing the form off of our website or stopping into our office to grab that form. Right now, refrigerators are $25 if you buy an Energy Star refrigerator, Pete. It's a great way to save energy in your home for sure.
You know, I think we've got one, but I'm not sure I put in for the rebate. Maybe it's too late. We'll have to look at that. OPU is affiliated with, when you say Rochester and Austin, is affiliated with the Southern Minnesota Municipal Power Agency. Has been now for a number of years, but it is not to say that OPU is not locally owned. It is a locally owned utility.
Absolutely, absolutely. We are still the municipal utility. We do the electric, water, and natural gas in Owatonna. The Southern Minnesota Municipal Power Agency, or we just say SIMPA, so if you hear me say that at any point in time, you know what I mean.
Exactly.
But so everybody else does too.
Sure.
They are our wholesale power provider, so that's where we purchase our electricity from. And the same is true now as it was when it was formed. They are there to help purchase power from at a much lower rate than we could either generate the power ourselves or go out on the wholesale market and buy that power off of the grid ourselves. And that holds true today just as much as it did then. Of course, you add in the regulations of how much renewable generation has to be on our portfolio, and then you add in all sorts of other complexities that SIMPA is able to handle on our behalf, and everybody else that is a SIMPA member utility as well. But we're definitely the municipal utility, local control, local voice. We have open commission meetings every month. People have a say in how their utility is run and operated, and that is wonderful. I know a number of communities that don't have that, and their community members wish they had that. It's nice to have that input and say in how things are run in your community.
I have to say too that the Southern Minnesota Municipal Public Utilities and Grand Marais is a part of it. I always wondered how that anomaly occurred.
But it works out all right.
Oh, sure.
It definitely works out all right. So.
Exactly. They came in, I guess, after the name was made. Well, tell us about what's going on down at OPU these days.
Well, it's March, but we do have hydrant flushing coming up in the springtime. This year, that'll be from April 24th through the 27th, and again, May 2nd through 4th. And if you don't have a pen and paper to write that down, that's okay. You're going to see it next month in your newsletter, your customer update. Now, of course, this is March's update. However, we do talk a little bit about fire hydrants. If you turn to the center page, you'll read a little bit more about fire hydrants here in March, and then you'll get to see some stuff going on in April. Get that hydrant flushing map like we always put out and stuff. In fact, this year we're going to have another form of map. If you go to our website this year, and we're working on getting that up right now, you'll actually be able to look and find out on the website using geolocation from your phone where you're at in town and what part of, or when that part of the community is going to be flushed. So instead of having to go find your street on the paper map, you can just pull up the website on your phone. You can take a look. Another neat feature with that one, we're going to actually put in the location of all of our fire hydrants in town. which is a great thing. We had that snowstorm on Monday. It's nice to know where the hydrant is to make sure that you shovel the snow away from your hydrant. That's definitely a great thing to do. It's a safety thing in case there was the unfortunate worst case scenario if there was a fire in the neighborhood. It's also nice to know where they're at all times of the year, even when there isn't snow, so that you're aware of that.
And speaking of the website, it's also an opportunity to see what your bill is going to be like. If you see the paper bill, you can also find your bill and your usage on the website.
Yes, yep. If you go to our website, you can log into our billing website. From there, you can see your bill. You can pay your bill online. We still take payments in the office, but you can pay it online, over the phone. Automatic payments coming from a checking account or a Visa or MasterCard. Great options. A lot of people like to do those automatic payments. Online payments are another great way to go as well, of course.
Let's go back to fire hydrants. Why do we do this? Why do we flush hydrants?
We get that question a lot, and everybody's like, well, why do you flush hydrants? Every time you do that, my water gets dirty. And that's part of the reason, actually, is that sediment is what's making that water look dirty. There's sediment that builds up in the bottom of the mains throughout the year. So by flushing a lot of water out at one time, we get that sediment out. That helps your water taste increase. That helps make sure that we're cleaning the pipes, maintains those pipes for a longer period of time. We get the opportunity to exercise all of the hydrants. You don't want to find out a hydrant isn't working should the fire department show up. So we get to make sure all of the hydrants are working. We can know if there's one that needs to be serviced that way. Just general water quality. It helps make sure that some of the areas that don't get enough water flow get some water flushed through there, get some nice fresh water back in there again as well.
We have Jordan aquifer water.
Yes.
And what's the supply like, as far as you know, of Jordan aquifer water?
That's a really good question. I don't have the answer, but I know it's definitely something that we're always looking at as a state. Water being very, very much top of mind in different areas. We have been reducing how much water we pump in Owatonna, which is great news. Being able to show that actual reduction in pumped water is another way to show that as our community is growing, we're being very water conscious. Our commercial and industrial customers are cutting back on their water consumption. Us as residential customers are cutting back on our water consumption. Education helps with that. Making sure that we're not watering our yards 2 days after it rained. We're not watering our yards when they're still wet. If you look at the ground and the soil is still moist, you don't need water. If you step on the grass and it bounces back, you don't need water yet.
95 degrees out.
If it's 95, sunny and windy, it's a terrible time to water, of course, too. So you end up putting more water on, and all of these different education pieces definitely help.
One thing that I know too is that our water is good water, basically coming out of the well. We do treat it, however.
There's a little bit of treatment done. We, of course, by regulation, do add fluoride. That level has been reduced recently, and we did talk about that in some newsletters of the past about the reduction of the fluoride levels. We do add a little bit of chlorine for taste and odor control, as well as sanitary purposes as that water sits in the mains. But definitely very, very good water coming out of there. We don't have a major water issue that requires a lot of filtering or treatment. Very little treatment that happens in Owatonna.
What other things do you want to have our folks know?
Absolutely.
Today?
We talked about dirty water when we're flushing. One of the things we get asked is, what do I do? My water's dirty, what do I do? We recommend, if you've got dirty water, go turn the bathtub on with cold water or another cold water faucet and just kind of flush that through. Usually by the time you see that dirty water, we're done flushing in your area. Just flush that water through. It'll clean up in a little while, and then it should be just fine. It's still safe. There's nothing wrong with that water. Oftentimes people don't like the yellow ice cube, so go turn off your ice cube maker. Try to avoid washing clothes at that time, and then once you flush the system out, everything's good to go again.
Some people may say, well, it's a waste of water. Well, you kind of, it's in a way that I suppose it is, but in order to get what you want, it's the thing to do. Right,
and it might be considered to some people a waste of water, but we've reduced it to flushing one time a year instead of 2 times a year, and it's much less waste than if we had a number of more water main breaks throughout the year because of old and aging pipes.
Very well. One last thing I'd like to talk about is, if you can, is we now have an opportunity to have coverage with water, speaking of water, from the main to our homes if there should be a line break.
Right. So our water service line protection program, if you're a homeowner and you haven't opted out, you're already opted into this, it's a very small monthly fee, which is a great insurance against a very expensive fix should you have a leak out in your yard somewhere. And that'll cover from the main all the way up to the meter in your home.
Cool.
And we will help repair any leaks and do certain portions of restoration. For more information on the terms and conditions, look at our website for those.
And when we see those guys in the white, yellow, whatever trucks, give them a wave.
Definitely.
They're doing their good work for us.
Absolutely.
Good to have you here today. We know that you're doing good work for us as well. And best wishes going forward.
Sounds good.
See
Thank you very
again
much,
next
Pete.
time. Okay.
Yep, you too.
Okay. And thank you for being with us today. Why don't you stay with us? We've got some messages coming from our sponsors.